Hi there, welcome to Moodle for lesson 2. We need to talk about certain errors. Now we talked about checking for completeness and for clarity and for consistency. But there are a couple of errors in the data that you may not be able to see, and it's not intentional. So I had mentioned that in the last lesson that there are two kinds of errors: the errors of omission and commission, where people deliberately try to alter the data. And when we start talking about things about ethics in module 10, we would spend more time on this. But sometimes it's a mistake, but sometimes it's deliberate, because people know that data drives decisions. People try to alter data. So, and there are many varieties, just like fire is very good, it can be very bad. So it's very important that you note this, and we'll see how we work around it when we start tying up the knots in the final module, which is module 10. But it's good to put this out there that during your check, sometimes you may miss this. So let me give an example here. So we have three basic types. If you have a continuous variable, say age, and the numbers entered are within range. When you wrote in the story of the catfish, where I mentioned that someone wrote 1 and 10, it's quite difficult for one person to order for 10 fishes. So, but if there was a typo of 2 instead of 1, it would be difficult to find. So in a continuous spectrum, and what I mean by a continuous variable like age, like height, if someone just made a mistake and put an extra 0.1, it may be difficult to find. But if you put 1.0, it could be so significant that you can detect that there's an error here. So if someone typed, like the example I'm showing here, 18 instead of 13 for teenage age, 13 is a teenager, 18 is a teenager, it may be difficult to detect, except there may be rules that this club or teenage club are in their lower teens. So it's difficult. But if someone put 333 for teenage age, instantly it flags as something very wrong. And that's what we call, of course, logical inconsistency. The same thing when you had a range of options within a categorical variable, and if someone selected very satisfied and the mistake was he wanted to select very dissatisfied, you may not be able to detect it. The only other way to do that is if you now have additional variables that show that this guy that said he was very satisfied, how come he's picking values that show that he's very dissatisfied? So you may not easily at the tap of the finger get that there's a problem with the data just by looking. The other one is very strong, is text, and that's why we're always very concerned about text variables for any data person, because it could go south, it could go anyway. Now, someone typing Babajide instead of Babatunde, you will not detect that, except if there is a rule that everybody who comes from here must end with Jide rather than with Tunde. Do you understand? So it takes deeper levels of checking to find errors like this. It's good to establish this so that when we talk about advanced stuff, you'll be able to get it. So I hope you understand. Some errors are not just quick to detect. You need further information, further context, and even sometimes if you don't have adequate information, these errors will slide without your observation. So there are more advanced ways of trying to get to the bottom of the truth, or trying to get the context, and that's why I talk most of the time, even in module 10, about what we call the domain knowledge. So it's just good that you understand that these things exist, and you may not find out some of these inconsistencies until you are adding some other context or variables. Okay, so I hope you understood this. I would see you in the next lesson. Thank you for watching. See you in lesson 3.